Hey, this is Frank Hannon, and you're watching Johnny's Guitar Lounge.
Frank, you are the best, man. Thanks so much. That's awesome. I'm here with the incredible Frank Hannon. You know him from Tesla. You need to know him from his new album, Reflections, and his new music video, San Francisco, which we're going to talk all about that stuff. I'm going to put links right here in the description of this video when I post it so that you can get to all his Spotify and his website and all that great stuff. But in the meantime, let me turn it over to Frank. You know the best probably from being a founding member of Tesla back in the 80s and all the arena rock stuff. But the funny thing is, when I got contacted about this interview, I had already been listening to Reflections. I want to make sure that I ask you what you used for that slapback on Plank Spanking, because I love that tone you got. That
Thanks,
is, you
John.
know, no, of course. So I know that that's a really long intro and like 18 questions in one, but why don't you just tell everybody all about this album and how that came about?
Well, thanks for the intro, man. Tesla is celebrating 40 years of being on the road and making records since, 1986. But throughout all that time, I've always tried to learn different styles and dabble with different styles of guitar playing. I love Western swing, I love jazz, I love blues. Obviously, everybody loves blues guitar. But this record, Reflections, looks like that right there,
Yep.
came about at the end of the year last year. I was going through a real season of hardships,
Oh,
and I just turned to my guitar for relief, really. And I mean, I always loved guitar, but I fell in love with guitar again in a way of communicating by just really slowing down and listening to the notes, like playing a lot slower, you know, and tapping into just how the guitar was making me feel. And I just started recording these ideas on my cell phone for social media
oh,
and
cool.
having fun. But my wife was very encouraging, and her daddy's a guitar player, so she's really in tune with music, and she could hear what I was playing and was feeling it. And she suggested that I didn't just throw it out there on social media, but actually turn it into an album. So that's how
Uh,
the record came about. I was creating these little guitar instrumental things that were reflecting the feelings I was having at the time, which has been the case even with Tesla. Like, like one of the Tesla songs that's just that mood of that came about when I was going through a rough time, and was having
that's
a moment. And I find that's when the best music comes for on the guitar, is when you're experiencing some difficulties in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. The guitar has always been, ever since I was 6 years old, when I feel terrible and I pick up the guitar, I'm going to feel better afterwards and during
Yeah,
it. And when I feel great, I still feel great and maybe even better. So, I mean, no matter
definitely.
what it
It's
is.
good. It's definitely a good tool and a good medicine for the soul, and a good way to express, get your feelings out, and a good escape. And the other cool thing about guitar that I feel is that it's a never-ending learning process.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you start diving into old school jazz stuff. Like Kenny Burrell or Wes Montgomery, or some of these guys like that are just mind blowing. Like Joe Pass to me is like
Yes.
the way he
Yes.
plays those chords. It's like I don't think I can achieve that in my whole lifetime, but I'm trying. I'm trying to learn. It's like learning French or something, some other language. Uh,
For me, it's Barney Kessel actually, and a part of that is because I've got a 1968 Gibson Barney Kessel, um,
Barney Kessel, yeah, yeah, and
with
Kenny
the
Burrell and
baritone, the
Herb Ellis,
stereo.
and
Yeah, and so I mean, I love all that stuff. I can't play jazz very well. I mean, I can play a little bit of Steely Dan stuff and everything, but
Wow, well, that's
it's
cool.
but I don't approach the instrument from a jazz perspective. And a lot of my viewers and a lot of my students are newer to the guitar. So I
Yeah.
mean, one thing I always tell them too is, if you can, listen to jazz, just listen to the different chord structures, even if you don't particularly love to listen to jazz, just listen to what's going on with the music because it's going to change your approach to the instrument. And that's what it's done for me.
Me too. Yeah, me too. And I'm like you. I don't approach it as a jazz, like a real jazz player, but I like to grab elements, kind of like spices. Like if I'm going to create a meal, I'm going to put a little garlic on it. I'm going to put a little, if I'm making a pizza, I'm going to put all these different ingredients on there. So throughout my whole life, I've always dabbled with learning different styles in order to create my own, and put those cool sound elements onto a rock song. You know, that's what I've always done with Tesla. If you listen to some of the Tesla songs, sometimes I'll put a Telecaster with some twang in there.
Hmm.
Uh, to make my own style of guitar playing, dabbling with all the different styles.
And you have definitely done that, especially in the 80s, too. It's one thing that I've always loved about Tesla is that everybody else was trying to approach guitar playing, I think, from like that Eddie Van Halen like shredder mentality. And there were plenty of people doing that. And you didn't really do that. You kept a lot of the, more soulful elements in your writing and in Tesla's music. Not that the other
Well,
stuff that was going on wasn't soulful, because I think people can shred and still play with a lot of emotion. I
yes,
can't
yes,
shred,
yeah,
but you
yeah,
you
yeah.
didn't you never wanted to be showy like that. You were always doing it just for the song and giving everything what the song needed and
Well,
just what
thanks.
it needed to make it,
I appreciate you saying that, but I am guilty of doing a lot of noodling too, especially when I go back to the
well,
second album. I was really trying to keep up with everybody. That in the '80s, the '80s were like this era of trying to keep up with the competition. It was so competitive at that time,
sure.
and guitar players were just so groundbreaking. And Eddie Van Halen's a very soulful player, even though he's
Yes.
technically doing a lot of stuff. I mean, he can really bend a note,
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
was mind blowing. But yes, so many guys were doing that, uh, and I was still pretty young when we first got signed. I was like 17 and 18. I just turned 18, but we had been playing the clubs and writing those songs, and myself personally making the demos on the 4 track. The recording thing really is what uh, opened my mind to wanting to incorporate and learn different styles and genres to put on the recordings to color up the demo tapes. So, for
I see.
example, if we would write a song like Modern Day Cowboy and record it, and then I would take the tape home and I'd put it in my 4 track, I would overdub an acoustic to add color to it.
Okay.
And I was fortunate to learn that at like 16 years old. I got a Fostex 4 track cassette recorder. And I feel if any guitar players are going to take anything from this interview from me today is learn to record yourself and overdub layers and really listen to what you're doing, because that's what recording does. Is it forces you to listen and get creative. I
You
know a
heard it
lot
from
of
the man
great
himself,
players in my
everybody.
hometown that
Yeah.
can just burn it up, but they never learned how to actually record.
Interesting. And seriously, you're hearing it from the man himself, guys. I wish someone had told me that when I was 16, 17. I wish someone had told me that at 30 because I never got like really into recording until really like, during COVID, like 2020, 2021, and
Yeah.
that has changed the way that I listen to music even. You know, I could always do
Yes.
live sound because I had to, but I had never approached it from the standpoint of really listening back to something for the purpose of building a track and all that. And that's just a whole different,
Yeah.
it's a whole different skill set, you know?
It is a whole different art form skill set, and it was addicting for me as a kid, 16, 17 years old in my bedroom with a Fostex 4-track on a cassette tape, and trying to utilize the 4 tracks to create these different layers and textures, you know, and
I
being
got
a
you.
fan of Jimmy Page and hearing how he would add acoustic guitars and, you know, to electric stuff. It was addicting, but the fun part about it was back then too is you would dub off cassette tapes and give them to your friends, you know, and
Sure,
hey,
sure.
check out my new song, and you could pass out cassettes to everybody.
See, I
Yeah.
used to do that. I was just doing a single track and it didn't sound any good. You know, so
Yeah,
that's
well,
the
hey, it's
difference for
never
me.
too late, man, and I'm glad you're into it now, and it's really fun. My new record, Reflections. Now, I've recorded on all kinds of formats, like starting with cassette, and then Tesla did all our records on the big reel-to-reel 2-inch tapes, and obviously now Pro Tools and all this great technology. But this new record was recorded with this little microphone here. It's called Audigo,
Oh, cool.
and
Okay.
it's designed for the cell phone. There's the logo right there, and
Audio.
it has an app, and this microphone connects to your cell phone, and you turn the app on and hit record, and you can overdub with it. You can't
Oh, that's
punch
so
in or
cool.
edit or do any all the stuff that you can cheat with on regular software, but you can capture some really good sound with this thing. It's amazing how this little thing sounds. And
Well, I mean, your new album is proof positive of that. I mean, you
well,
would think
thanks,
that that was
man.
done in a, state of the art studio with all the top level equipment, you know?
The
And
other thing
wow.
about learning the art of recording as a young guy, as a teenager, was I quickly gravitated to bass and adding bass. And when you play guitar and then you add bass to it, the bass guitar just makes it sound real and good, you know. You got to have bass in the mix and be able to play bass like a bass player. So when you dabble with other instruments, like I've dabbled with piano and organ, B3, synthesizers, and I dabble with these things only just
Mhm.
enough to learn enough to be able to create recordings that sound good, you know. And bass is crucial to that. Um, my point is on my Reflections album, I overdubbed all the parts together pretty randomly and quickly, and that would be a rhythm guitar, a bass guitar, and then a lead guitar. So it's very sparse. And using this little mic, I just put this mic in front of a little Fender. There's a little Fender Deluxe back here,
Oh, sure. Okay.
and I just left the Fender Deluxe set everything flat, and I would play a guitar track, and then I would plug in my SG bass. It's an SG bass. Plug that
Oh,
in,
cool.
listen back, and play along with it. And that's how my new song San Francisco was recorded.
Oh, cool.
I actually started with the bass, and I played a bass solo for 4 minutes, not really knowing what I was going to do. I knew I wanted it to kind of be like a Jack Cassidy thing, and then I knew
Right, right,
somewhere
yeah.
in the middle of it I wanted to do. I wanted to do a Latin bass solo. So I literally just recorded the bass by itself for 4 minutes, nothing else, like a bass solo, trying to imagine, okay, what would I play on guitar on top of this? So as soon as I got done recording the bass, I started at the beginning, and then I just started playing along with it. And then I was like, that sounds pretty good. Why don't I add an acoustic? So I took the little
Oh,
Audigo mic off of the amp and grabbed my Dove acoustic and started strumming that. And then, but I thought I had made a mistake. So I was just goofing around. I said, well, I made a mistake, so I'm probably going to erase this anyway. Why don't I just go ahead and try a little flamenco, a little flamenco thing on there. And here is the lesson. Never be too critical of what you're doing and recording and stop in the middle of it before you have a chance to finish it. Because if you're recording and then you stop, then you're screwed. You already threw it out the window. But if you don't stop and you just keep on going to the very end, take a break and then listen back to it, chances are you might like it. Even if there's mistakes in there. And that is the art of improvising and recording and creating. Those things that I just told you.
What a cool thing. And what an awesome way to build a track and to build a whole song. You basically recorded the song as you were writing it then, just part by part.
Yeah.
That is just awesome.
Yeah. And it turned out to be one of my favorite songs on the record, because it's completely unplanned, really.
I've got to say too, I mean, it's got a trippy feel. It's called San Francisco, a trippy place, and it's got a trippy way of coming to life too, where you just, I mean, how
it
cool
really
is
did.
that? How cool is that? That's just awesome, man. Dude.
So speaking of trippy, after the record came out in September, I put a couple singles out from the Reflections record. And then over the holidays, I did a little holiday single. But it kind of steered the attention away from my Reflections album. So I wanted to come back to Reflections, and that's what made me decide to re-release a new single, San Francisco. And the light bulb came on. I have a friend, Chris Samardich, who works for Brotherhood of Light Show, and he is part of the organization that did all the original trippy psychedelic oil light shows for the Fillmore and the Grateful Dead and Monterey Pop Festival and all the San Francisco scene of that style. And it's not AI generated, it's not computer, it's the real thing with oil and the liquid light shows. Remember those?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I got a hold of him and I sent him my song, San Francisco, and he liked it and immediately sent me all these visuals of the city with the psychedelic liquid oil stuff that's authentic stuff. And so my friend Kelly Smith and we assembled it and put it together for the video, which comes out on Friday. So very excited about that.
I'm excited about it too, because I've heard about the video. You're telling me a lot more about it, obviously, and thank you for all that backstory on it too.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, it's really cool to work with an artist, a visual artist like that, who's an authentic creator of that art form. And San Francisco, the city, is such a melting pot of music. And for me as a kid, it was always like the Emerald City of Wizard of Oz. It was like, because it's about an hour and a half west of where I live. We're from Northern California. So, we would drive to San Francisco, and it was like going to the big city, But so much great music has come from there, from everything from Santana to Creedence Clearwater Revival to Bill Graham was the promoter there, and he was responsible for so many great artists. Journey, Metallica. In a way, Tesla is from Northern California, and we're actually we won a BAMI, which is a Bay Area Music Award back in the 90s. And so,
cool. Okay.
Proud to be a part of the whole Northern California, San Francisco sound. And the last element I want to tell you about is there's in the song San Francisco, I play this little. And that is influenced by David LaFlame, who was a violinist for a band called It's a Beautiful Day. And they had a song called White Bird. Have you ever heard that?
I don't think so. I'm going to have to check that out.
Bird in a golden cage. It's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, from the late 60s then probably.
And from San Francisco. They're
I
part
would
of the
say
San Francisco
okay.
sound. Yeah.
That does sound familiar now. But as soon as I'm done with this, I'm gonna have to check it out and listen to it all
Yeah,
the way
it's
through.
called, they're called It's a Beautiful Day, and that record was a huge influence on me. And so my
Wow.
song San Francisco and the video, all of that is a tribute to that music.
That is so, so cool. And you can certainly hear the influence in it, and you can hear the homage and the honor you're paying to that music. Except it still sounds like Frank Hannon too. And the entire album is like that for me because I've appreciated and enjoyed and respected your guitar playing for a long, long time. And I never knew until just recently that your wife's father played guitar from time to time. Uh, I'm not
To
sure
say
if
to put it lightly,
yeah,
he's one of the best, greatest guitar players and songwriters of all time, Mr. Dickey Betts.
that's Dickey Betts. That's right.
He not only could write a Grammy Award-winning instrumental like Jessica, but he could write a gorgeous song like Blue Sky and sing it. Yeah,
Oh
he
yeah.
was incredible, but a great human, man, a great guy. I got more out of our relationship just listening to him talk and sharing stories and getting his wisdom as being a survivor in this crazy business of music. He
I
told me just
believe
keep
that.
on swinging, just keep doing what you love to do. So
While we're talking about him, I had the incredible fortune of meeting Dickie a few times at some different events that the Gibson Custom Shop put on. And what I remember, aside from obviously the music and stuff like that, and like you're saying, just as genuine as they come, you know.
yeah.
But he he was always so much fun to be around. I mean, everything was a party, even when it wasn't a party. It was always a party when Dickie was there, and
That's a fact. He was a riot, man. He was a very dynamic individual. And
well,
I'll share with you
yeah,
something that Dickie played that was, an example of just how with guitar, everyone knows that you can play, as many notes and licks as you can possibly fit in. But
sure.
I was listening to this recording that Dickie had done, and I came to him and I said, "Man, how did you do that?" And all it is like if you're playing a root note, in this case, the key of D, and you got D up here.
Mhm.
Well, you slide up, but you don't quite make it to the root, and you just go a half step, and it goes.
Oh. Ah, okay,
I
well,
just
that's
think that
cool.
sounds so cool.
That does sound cool.
So you're a half step under the root note,
And then you'd
and you
like bend up
slide
to it
up
a
to
little
it.
bit. And so,
It's so simple, but so cool, right?
and it sounds to me and looks, I think, like you're almost like just barely touching like the bottom of the root note at the top using like heavy vibrato, right?
So I
Well, it's
took
not really
that
a full
little,
bend. It's more like vibrato from the looks
yeah,
of it,
I
right?
took that
Yeah.
little thing there, and I use it on my song "Walk in the Rain," and I made my own way of doing it. The song is in B minor, so you got your B minor right here,
Yep.
and if you listen to my song "Walk in the Rain," I play a half step flat under the B minor, and I bend it
Oh, cool. Okay.
like
Man,
that.
that's awesome. That
So
is
that's
so
the
cool.
half step trick, and
I
that's
love that.
I've commandeered that one, and it was influenced by Dickie, and I've incorporated it into my own thing.
Well, I think I'm gonna have to commandeer it too. Nobody's ever gonna hear it when I do it, but
Ah,
they'll hear it when you do it.
I have a new philosophy. Everything is just one fret away.
That's true. And that's sort of
So
it
like
sort
if
of
you're
reminds me
playing
of
this note here, Whoa, you just changed everything by one fret. Like there's a big difference between this and it's a
there
big
is.
difference, but it's only one fret.
It's only one fret, except it just colors the whole
It changes the whole color of
line
everything.
in a whole different way. You know, it sort of reminds me of what I think it was Miles Davis who said, you know, the note's only wrong depending on the note you play after it. Like that sort of
That's
thing.
right, because they're all related to each other in different ways.
Yeah.
It's how the notes relate from one to the other that makes all the difference.
I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the music. Thanks for all the inspiration. You're seeing it right here. Check everything out on Frank's website and on Frank's Spotify and Frank's YouTube, which I'm going to put links right here in the description of this video. Frank, Frank, thank you so much for being here. Frank, you so much for being here.
That's funny. I think my wife has said that, or my kids have said that, or they might have left a couple letters out and said the other F word.
Well,
you never know.
I'm not going to do that to you, man. Trust
That's
me.
all right, John. I appreciate you,
so
John,
much, and yeah.
thanks for keeping guitar music alive, man. God bless you, and God bless the guitar. We're so grateful to have it, and appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you too. Thank you, Frank.
All right.
Take care. All the best, man.
Peace out.